What's up, guys? Before jumping into today's video, round 2 of the G Fuel Madness competition is closing out, and we're still chasing that end goal of an espresso shaker cup. If you want to help make that a reality, and only if you want to, using code espresso helps keep us in the running on orders big or small, starter packs or multi-tub restocks. But code espresso will get you 30% off your entire order the entire time we're in the competition. Truly appreciate the support if you've taken part already, or if you're interested in doing so. With so many rumors flying around and the week lining up for what looks like a patternized refresh of Season 2, I don't mean to sound dramatic, but this week has the potential to be one of the biggest weeks for Call of Duty since the launch of Modern Warfare, if all things go according to theory. But of course, we won't know any of that definitively until the next few days, but I think it's fair to discuss the prospect of the week ahead and what we may be seeing within the next 7 days. So with that said, let me know your thoughts as we go along. What are you looking forward to this week? Are you hoping to see anything in particular, or are you kind of just going with the flow? As well, make sure you hit that subscribe button if you haven't done so already. If this week really is big, you won't want to miss any coverage, and of course, we'll keep you covered with absolutely anything you need to know. But that said, again, I don't think that it's too far removed from fair to say the prospect of this week is pretty big. We know a few things for certain, we have hunches on others, and then we have theory to discuss later on. But as always, let's start with the certains, the things that we know for sure. What we see every single week, every single Tuesday within Modern Warfare is firstly a playlist refresh of some kind. This past week introduced us to Gunfight 3v3, 1v1 me bro, and Shoot the Ship, along with a touched up variation of Boots on the Ground War, which was available the week before, but I think way better now this time around whenever you don't have tanks and you have regular ground war as you know it. Those, though, for the most part, are probably going to be going away. Boots on the Ground War may stay. It seems like the community's been receptive to it from what I've seen at least, but things like Gunfight 3v3, 1v1 me bro, and Shoot the Ship may be getting swapped out with something. Perhaps the introduction of a new mode we haven't seen yet, or some reintroductions of others. Additionally, we may see gunfight tournaments finally go away, though it seems like that's just pushing the boundaries of how long it's going to stay in, so maybe it does stay another week. But a playlist refresh is definitely going to be happening. Shop refreshes is another guarantee that we see every single Tuesday. Yes, you have your daily items that you see in your operators as well as your blueprint category, but in the main featured tab, we'll be seeing some new items. Probably 2, maybe 3, but of what, we don't exactly know. Mace is right now at his window for removal though, so it seems like today and tomorrow is going to be the last day that you can end up picking him up. So if you want to consider getting that operator, maybe do so. While operators are only cosmetic only and don't really serve any functional purpose, if you are somebody that's interested in getting Mace, we haven't seen Nikto reintroduced in any capacity. We haven't seen him in the battle pass or any mission challenges just yet, and he's our closest comparison to Mace that we have right now, since Mace is the only other operator outside of Nikto that's been available in the shop. So seemingly the only way you can get these is by their introduction within the shop. So it might be worth noting that if you don't pick him up in the shop, you might not be able to see him for the foreseeable future. But with the refresh, Mace may be taken out of the immediate viewpoint. If you buy some things on the featured tab, he has the possibility to come back up, but he won't just be plastered there like he has been the last couple of weeks. But that's the stuff that we know, and that's the stuff we're kind of guaranteed here with every single week. But is that all I'm anticipating? Well, obviously by the talk that we think this week has the potential to be a massive week, no, I'm anticipating a little bit more. First and foremost, that being title update 1.16. We talked about yesterday the fact there's still a lot of things that need changed out, which we'll discuss a little further here in this video in just a little bit to touch up on some stuff, but there's a lot of things on the back end that need some fixing. And of course, there's been a lot of talks from developers about the upcoming update, an update coming very soon and the likes. So title update 1.16 is something that is possible, and especially when you consider that, again, we're on this patternized release schedule so far for Season 2, and this upcoming week seems to fit that pattern, meaning that more content will need to come along, so another update is more than likely going to happen. So come Tuesday, you may want to keep your PlayStation 4s, Xbox Ones, or PCs around so you can quickly update that kind of stuff, but I'd anticipate that this week. But along with that, in the Season 2 refresh content, we still have a couple of things left for Season 2 that we haven't seen introduced just yet. Of that being Condor Hideout, a new multiplayer map, Talon, a brand new operator, and a new classified weapon, which we don't know of, but it looks to be a shotgun coming at some point. So right now, as of Tuesday, we'll see 28 days left on the season, season, which means that we'll likely see 2 more refreshes this upcoming Tuesday if it happens, being one of those before Season 3 kicks off. That being on the 10th and then the 24th, and then the 7th of April is when we see that timetable switch over from Season 2 to Season 3. So that means that one will have 2 items of those just listed and one will have 1, seemingly according going to pattern if we follow that with what we've seen in Season 1. And personally, I'm expecting that this upcoming week, the refresh that may or may not happen, I'm expecting a new map and maybe talent. Now, if we're looking at the patterns for the marketing releases, again, we kind of see that this follows suit with how Season 1 went. I would see the final update for Season 2 following that same basic framework with how we saw the crossbow introduced in the final update for Season 1 and that seasonal extension. So I'm anticipating that maybe on the 24th, that weapon, which we think is a shotgun, being the final significant update of Season 2's drop before Season 3 kicks off. So by that logic, we still have, again, that new map and that new operator to fill in somewhere. And by following that 2-week interval, that brings us to Tuesday. So Condor Hideout, we don't really know anything about. We haven't seen anything for this. So I don't really have all that many expectations. I'm assuming it's just going to be a standard 6v6 map, presumably a smaller one as well. The maps that we've seen since launch have all been predominantly smaller maps. Shoot House, Crash, Vacant, Shipment, Atlas Superstore, and Rust. Well, they're all relatively small, which is a direct contrast to the launch offering where maps were kind of emphasized for higher player counts. So unless we get a curveball here, I'm expecting a smaller map on offer with Condor Hideout. And if we see Talon introduced, well, we know already that we're going to see him introduced within the shop. His operator unlock display already confirms this. You can see him in the operators tab in Modern Warfare right now. And as well, I also think this was echoed in the Season 2 blog post over on Activision's website when the season launched. Another solid lead as to why we may see him this week is visible by circling back to that previous statement about Mace, that he's currently on the last leg if you haven't bought him yet. So to me, I think it'd make decent sense to replace an operator in the shop with, well, another operator. And if that's the case, it's likely that he'd be around 2,400 COD points for that bundle, including the operator and a few new items. That's the pricing that we've seen for Mace, that's the pricing we've seen for Nikito as well last season, so I really wouldn't expect anything other than that price point, to be honest. But again, that's what I would expect the bigger refresh items to be. Like we mentioned, modes are coming for sure, but they're smaller scale compared to a map and a new operator. But other than that, with an update, if update 1.16 does actually come around, I'd expect a bunch of back-end fixes. Whether that stuff is mentioned or just some stealth updates. We talked about 19 things yesterday. If you guys want to check that out, you can check it out here on the channel, but we talked about 19 things that we know are likely to be coming within the next update, and there's probably always going to be more stuff than that of what we just know about. So maybe we see some more weapon tuning, maybe we see another set of attachments on a weapon. We saw that we had a Kimbo recently added. We saw 2 new attachments for the Uzi. That kind of stuff could be coming as well. But that's the kind of stuff that I would expect for a refresh and what I'm anticipating. But let's talk about the big stuff, the stuff now that's all just theory, and we really haven't seen anything just yet. That being, and what makes this perhaps the biggest part and why this week may be the biggest since the launch of Modern Warfare, the fate of Warzone. The rumored Battle Royale game mode for Modern Warfare, the classified main menu tile, it is something that has been absolutely a buzz in the Call of Duty community as of the last month or so, and especially because it's been right there in plain view. But the weird part is we haven't heard anything about this. Not a single thing, not a peep, nothing's really leaked outside of what we saw initially, and it's been mum's the word. So the question is this actually going to be something that drops this week? Because we did have another timetable. There was, of course, last week we discussed that 3-3 rumor where people thought because there were multiple things in game that pointed to 3-3, we'd see a release date for Warzone on March the 3rd, but that didn't come true. The only other timetable that we've heard is that of March 10th, which happens to be this Tuesday. Now, we heard this from a random VGC article that claimed the release date would be the 10th. They claimed it from an insider, but there really hasn't been anything to validate that or back it up. It's just kind of been put out there. So how valid is that? Is it something we can actually look forward to? Your guess really is as good as mine. We haven't, again, heard anything, which is the craziest part to me. If that does in fact happen and we do see something that launches, it will break what we know for the current and traditional ways that marketing works with Activision. They usually take about a week to build up the hype for something, but if it drops on the 10th, well, by basic math, we don't have a week until then. What makes this a little bit more curious is the fact that last week's rumor of 3-3 didn't really make much sense because, again, that was what we consider an off week. We see that we have this patternized release schedule of seemingly every 2 weeks, something happens. Of course, Season 1 kind of blew that cover halfway through, a little bit beforehand, but Season 2 seems to be keeping up with that. 3-3 didn't fit that. It was the valley of the peaks and valleys of interest and when things pop up. But this upcoming Tuesday, that's when we expect already a Season 2 refresh, so is it out of the realms of possibilities? I don't personally think so, but again, it's just so weird that if that does happen, there'll be absolutely no promotion for it, really. So that's kind of where I'm at here with this. I don't know, your guess is as good as mine, but that's where we're gonna wrap it up. So let me know your thoughts down there in the comment section down below. What are you looking forward to here within this week? Do you think it has the potential to be the biggest week since launch, and anything in between? Feel free to let me know your thoughts in the comments below, but hopefully enjoy the video. If you did, make sure you drop a like down below, and of course, if you are new to the channel, make sure you guys subscribe so you don't miss a single thing regarding all things Modern Warfare, updates, news, information, tips, tricks, all that good stuff. We got you covered here on the channel. So if any of that interests you, hit that subscribe button so you don't miss a single thing, especially if it is such a big week. You don't want to miss any of it, so stick it right here on the channel. If you guys also want to get connected with me outside of YouTube, Twitter and Instagram are the best places to hit me up. Practically live on both those. So if you guys want to strike up a conversation, ask me a question, whatever it may be, that link is down there in the description below. But other than that, out of the way, thank you guys all so much for watching. Mine has been Espresso. I'll see you guys later. Take care, and peace.